Welcome back to Becoming Ultimate Masters. I'm always excited to jump into these deep dives with you. Today, we're tackling something pretty universal.
Yeah, definitely universal.
Love.
Oh, yeah. Love.
It's one of those things that you hear about everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? And, we've been singing about it forever.
Yeah. People get stressed about it.
People get stressed about it.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to break this down. We're using this really cool book called The Meaning of Love
Okay.
to help us with this. And it's interesting because it takes kind of a different approach.
Yeah. It's
Not the typical.
For lovey-dovey.
Yeah, lovey-dovey.
Self-help book.
Exactly. So this book kind of encourages us to look at love through a more
Analytical lens.
yeah, analytical lens. Like, can we use logic and analysis when we're talking about love?
Yeah. And the author actually thinks we can. He thinks that even though love involves all these powerful emotions and feelings,
Right.
we can still try to break it down rationally. He believes that love has three core elements. There are feelings, satisfactions,
Right.
and ethical qualities.
Okay, so let's start with feelings then.
Yeah.
And I think when we talk about love, that's kind of what comes up first, right? It's
Yeah.
all about, the heart fluttering
The butterflies.
butterflies. Yeah.
Yeah.
But is it really just about those romantic feelings? Or are we talking about attraction, like all kinds of attraction?
You got it. It is about all kinds of attraction. The author says it's not just about romantic love.
Okay.
So think about a teacher that just makes learning come alive. You're attracted to their intellect.
Right.
Or maybe you're just obsessed with a musician and their raw talent.
Yeah.
Or maybe you feel really protective of
Yeah.
a younger sibling. Those are all feelings of attraction.
Okay, so I didn't have thought about it like that. So even those butterflies you feel for someone can be romantic,
Yeah.
but they don't have to be tied to sexual attraction.
Exactly. Romantic feelings can exist on their own. Kind of like you can admire a beautiful painting without wanting to take it home with you.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. So then where did these satisfactions come in? Is this just about liking the same things as your partner?
I mean, enjoying shared activities is part of it.
Okay.
But it's definitely deeper than that. The author has this concept of half expectations
Have expectations?
or half desires. And I find it fascinating.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this. Break it down for me.
So think about it this way. You might not even know you have certain desires
Right.
until someone fulfills them
Huh.
or doesn't. The author uses this example from his own relationship where he realized that he wasn't consistently expressing appreciation to his partner for the good days.
Oh, so he was enjoying those days, but maybe he was taking them for granted.
Yeah, kind of. And because he wasn't expressing it, his partner started to feel like those days weren't valued.
Wow.
And it actually created some tension between them.
That is such an interesting example.
Yeah. I mean, because it's something so subtle, right?
It is.
But it really can have a big impact on the relationship.
Totally. It shows how important it is to be aware of those deeper desires,
Yes.
the unspoken ones,
Absolutely.
both our own and the ones of the people we care about.
Okay, so we've talked about feelings. We've talked about satisfactions. What about this ethical goodness? Is that just about being a good person in general?
It's a little more specific than that.
Okay.
So the author distinguishes between being good for someone
Uh-huh.
and being good to someone.
Okay.
So being good for someone might mean encouraging them to make choices that are in their best interests,
Okay.
even if they don't want to.
Like when you tell your friend to stay home and study for that exam instead of going to that party.
Exactly.
Even they're going to be mad at you in the moment.
Yeah, it'll help them in the long run.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets interesting. The author challenges this idea that just because you love someone,
Right.
you automatically want what's best for them.
He has all these examples of jealous partners
Oh, yeah.
or people that are controlling in relationships.
Right. So love doesn't give you an excuse to behave badly
No.
or, make all the decisions.
It doesn't.
Right.
Being good to someone often means supporting their growth,
Okay.
helping them become the best version of themselves,
Yeah.
not just doing whatever makes them happy in that moment.
It's like being a coach, not just a cheerleader.
Yes.
You're there to support their development, even when it's tough.
Absolutely. And, people change.
Yeah.
And those changes can impact our relationships.
That's true. It's like in the movies when you see high school sweethearts. They go off to different colleges and they grow apart because their lives are just changing so much.
Yeah, it's a classic example. So the author acknowledges that change is inevitable.
Yeah.
But he does think we can do things to prevent growing apart.
Like making sure you have those shared values that are important to both of you.
Exactly. Focusing on those core values and interests that aren't likely to change drastically over time, builds a strong foundation.
Makes sense. So what about jealousy? Is it always a bad thing?
Well, so the author divides jealousy into two types,
Okay.
rational and irrational.
Okay.
So rational jealousy is a natural response when there's a real threat to your relationship.
Okay.
Like if your partner starts spending a lot of time with someone who is clearly flirting with them,
Yeah.
it's understandable to feel jealous.
It's like you're protecting something that's important to you.
Yes.
What about that other kind, though?
Irrational jealousy.
Yeah.
That comes from insecurity and possessiveness, and
Uh-huh.
it pops up even when there's no real cause for concern.
Huh.
Like if you get upset that your friend got your partner an amazing birthday gift.
Right. You're not actually losing anything.
Yeah.
But you're resentful.
Exactly.
So it's about recognizing, is this coming from, my own insecurities, or is this, a valid feeling?
Yeah. And if you're struggling with irrational jealousy, it's really important to talk to your partner about it.
Yeah. Address those feelings.
Build trust.
Yeah. I mean, this whole conversation is making me realize that love is really complex,
It is.
and communication is so key
Yeah.
in navigating all this complexity.
I totally agree. The author really emphasizes open and honest communication for creating healthy, fulfilling relationships.
He even talks about how even nonverbal communication can be tricky.
Oh, yeah. Body language can be so misleading.
Yeah, like a kiss
Right.
can mean so many different things depending on the context.
A goodnight kiss from your parent is different from a kiss from someone you have a crush on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So instead of just like trying to read someone's mind
Exactly.
or like interpret vague signals,
Be direct.
just use your words.
Use your words.
Okay, so we've talked about feelings and satisfactions and ethical goodness, but what makes a relationship like truly meaningful?
The author suggests that meaningful relationships, they kind of go beyond just being good for each other or even loving each other.
Okay.
They have this deep sense of personal significance,
Mhm.
shared intimacy,
Okay.
this feeling of being truly seen
Yeah.
and understood.
It's like you found someone who really gets you,
Yeah.
and you feel comfortable being yourself.
Completely.
Moving
And it's
on.
about finding solace
Okay.
in that shared understanding and cherishing those moments of connection
Mhm.
that resonate with you.
Even if the relationship doesn't last forever.
Even if it doesn't, he even talks about this woman who treasured a brief encounter
Oh, wow.
with the soldier, even though they never saw each other again.
Wow.
It was fleeting, but it held so much meaning for her.
That's a really powerful example of how meaning can be found in the most unexpected places.
It is.
It's not about how long it lasts. It's about the depth of that connection.
Exactly.
And this could be with romantic partners, but also friends or family.
Any connection where you feel that depth.
Oh,
Yeah.
we've covered so much ground already.
I know, right?
But we're just getting started. I want
Yeah.
you to give everyone a chance to process this before we keep going.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So here's a challenge for you.
Huh.
Over the next few days,
Okay.
I want you to try to think of 3 instances in your relationships,
Okay.
past or present,
Mm-hmm.
where you've seen these elements of love in action.
Good idea.
Feelings, satisfactions, ethical goodness.
Think about moments when you felt truly understood by a friend.
Yeah.
The joy of sharing a hobby with someone you love, or even those times when you knew you were contributing positively to someone else's life.
So we'll be back soon to continue this deep dive into the meaning of love. But until then, keep those insights flowing.
Yes.
Keep those conversations going.
Absolutely.
And keep those hearts open.
Beautiful. Welcome back to Becoming Ultimate Masters. We're jumping right back into our exploration of love with the meaning of love.
It's been great. We've uncovered so much about what makes love work. Those feelings, satisfactions, ethical qualities, they all create those powerful connections. And you've had some time to think about how these elements show up in your own life.
Yeah. What struck you as you thought about your own experiences? Anything that resonated or surprised you?
Honestly, that concept of half expectations,
Oh, yeah.
that really stayed with me. I realized that I've definitely been guilty of taking things for granted in past relationships,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and not fully understanding those unspoken needs
Right.
that my partners might have had.
Yeah. I think that's something a lot of us experience,
Yeah.
We just assume people know how we feel, but
Yeah.
sometimes you got to say it.
You got to say it, exactly. Okay, well, let's talk about some of the more, shall we say, intense
Yes.
when it comes to love and relationships.
Okay.
The stuff that makes you blush a little?
Oh, you mean like sex?
Yes, sex.
Okay.
The author doesn't shy away from this topic, and
No, he doesn't.
he has some interesting thoughts about how sex and love relate to each other.
Yeah, he actually challenges that idea that
Mm.
they're always a package deal.
Oh,
He
really?
he points out that you can have a really meaningful and satisfying sexual experience without being in love. And on the flip side, you can be in love and
Okay.
not have a fulfilling sexual relationship.
That's so interesting. He even suggests that getting too hung up on technique can actually take away from the experience.
Yeah, instead of striving for that perfect performance,
Right.
prioritize connection intimacy.
Processor.
So it's less about following a script and more about being present and in tune with your partner
Yes.
and just allowing yourselves to feel everything.
Be in the moment.
Yes, in the
And
moment.
don't forget communication, even when it comes to sex.
Oh, you mean talking about your desires and your boundaries and what feels good?
All of it.
That can be awkward.
It can't, but so important for a
Yeah.
satisfying and connected experience. This reminds me of something else we talked about earlier. The importance of maintaining your own individuality,
Oh, yeah.
even within a relationship.
Absolutely. The author is a big believer in balancing togetherness
Okay.
with independence. It's about knowing when to lean on each other and when to give each other space to
Yeah.
grow.
It's like finding that sweet spot
Yeah,
where you can be your own person, but also be part of a team.
exactly. He even suggests that independence can make the relationship stronger
Mm.
because you bring new experiences and perspectives back to the partnership. Keeps things exciting.
It's like absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yes. Giving each other space can make the time you spend together even more special.
Yeah.
Now, before we finish up this part of our deep dive, I want to circle back to meaningful relationships.
Oh, yeah. The ones that go beyond just having fun
Yeah,
or being in love.
exactly. He describes them as those connections that really resonate deep within us,
Mhm.
the ones that leave a mark on our hearts and minds.
It's like those people who really see you
They do understand you.
and they leave you feeling changed.
Yeah, even after the relationship is ended.
Exactly. They're marked by a deep sense of personal significance, shared intimacy, that feeling of being understood.
And those relationships can take many forms.
Romantic partners,
Friendships.
family,
Yeah.
it's any connection where you feel that depth of connection.
It's not about the amount of time. It's
Yeah.
about the impact.
This deep dive has been
Yeah.
a lot to think about.
It really has.
We've explored love, the joys and challenges of relationships,
We've talked about communication and commitment and individuality.
and we've learned that love isn't always easy or predictable,
Right.
but it's a journey worth taking.
It's about embracing all those complexities, those ups
Yeah.
and downs, and really cherishing those moments of connection.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, before we move on, though, I have another challenge for you.
A challenge.
It's all about action.
Action. Think about everything we've talked about, the elements of love, communication, individuality, and I want you to pick one thing to try in your own life this week.
Okay.
Maybe it's expressing appreciation to someone you care about,
Yeah.
setting a healthy boundary,
Right.
or making time for an activity that brings you joy.
Yeah.
So we'll be back soon to wrap up this deep dive, but until then, take those insights and put them into practice. Welcome back to Becoming Ultimate Masters. We're wrapping up our deep dive into the meaning of love, and we've been using the meaning of love as our guide.
It's been a great journey. Over the last 2 episodes, we've really explored so much about what makes love work, all those essential elements,
Yeah.
the feelings, the satisfactions, ethical goodness.
Yeah.
And we talked about how they all work together to create those powerful bonds. And last time we challenged you to take action,
Yes?
to actually try to apply some of these insights in your own relationship. So
Yeah.
how did it go? Anything particularly challenging or surprising for you as you put these ideas into practice?
I think for me, it was a reminder that even small gestures
Yeah,
can make a really big difference.
you can.
I made a conscious effort to express appreciation to the people in my life,
Yeah.
and it was amazing
Oh, that's great.
how much it strengthened those bonds.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's easy to forget how powerful a simple thank you can be.
Yeah. It really is.
Yeah.
Well, as we're kind of nearing the end of this deep dive, I wanted to bring up something that the author says that I think is really relevant for our listeners. And that's this idea that love isn't a destination,
Okay.
it's a journey.
It's so true. It's not about reaching some perfect state of happily ever after.
Yeah.
It's more about embracing those ups and downs,
Yeah.
the growth and the changes.
Yeah. It's like learning to ride a bike.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to wobble, you're going to fall off a few times, but
Yeah.
eventually
Yeah, you find your balance.
you find your balance and you're enjoying the ride.
And just like riding a bike, love takes practice,
Uh-huh.
patience, a willingness to learn.
And you're going to make mistakes.
You are?
You're going to face challenges, but
Absolutely.
each experience kind of helps you grow and get
You
better
get more skills.
at navigating it all.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of challenges, the author also talks about how disagreements
Mm-hmm.
are inevitable in any relationship.
Yeah.
And he says that conflict isn't necessarily a bad thing.
It's not. It's how you handle it.
It's how you handle it that matters.
And he suggests that instead of viewing disagreements as like battles to be won
Yeah.
or lost,
Right.
we should approach them as opportunities to grow
Okay.
and understand each other better.
So it's about listening to each other's perspectives,
Yes.
finding that common ground,
Yeah.
and, working together to find solutions
Yeah,
that
that's
work
it.
for both people.
He also talks about choosing your battles wisely.
Oh, yeah.
Not everything needs to be a fight.
Right.
Sometimes it's okay to agree to disagree and just focus on the bigger picture.
It makes me think about communication again.
Yeah.
That open and honest communication, it's essential for navigating those bumps in the road
It's about being able to express your needs and feelings.
and listening to your partner
yeah.
without judgment.
It's like you're building a bridge instead of a wall,
I love that.
right?
It is. It's about creating a safe space
Yes,
for both of you to share.
it is.
Wow, well, this has been
Yeah.
such an incredible journey.
It has.
We explored the different sides of love, that initial spark to the challenges of, keeping a relationship going long term.
We talked about communication and commitment and individuality.
And we learned that love is this ongoing process.
It is. It's
Uh,
constantly evolving and changing.
I really hope that our listeners feel equipped with some tools and insights
Yeah.
to help them in their own relationships. Remember, love is a journey,
It is.
and it's a journey worth taking.
Absolutely.
Well, and remember, new episodes of Becoming Ultimate Masters come out daily.
They do.
So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on our next deep dive. If you want even more guidance, be sure to check out www.ultimatemasters.org coaching or WhatsApp us at +256 771324119.
Yeah.
And if you enjoyed this episode, please share it.
Yeah, spread the love.
Spread the love, spread the knowledge, spread the inspiration.
Let's do it.
All right, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for listening.
See you next time.